It's your guy who is never lying, sometimes defiant. TP Way the Giant. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and rocking with me. Please make sure that you like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you are a New York Giant fan / New York Giant soldier. So here is another one. Another one. And when I say another one, another one of those terrible ass, I can't believe what I'm hearing type of takes. Mainstream media, ladies and gentlemen. Mainstream media. This is why I can't stand to listen to these people, man. And this is also why I just hate being that loser ass bottom of the NFL team. Because what happens is when you are garbage, they get this type of shit off. They get to talk about your team like this and say the most outlandish shit because who gives a damn about your garbage ass team? And so I just want to show this so y'all can see with your own eyes. Like, I can't make this shit up, man. This is mainstream media.
Victor. All right, to the NFL we go, where the Giants are in last place in the NFC East with just 3 wins. They fired head coach Brian Daboll after starting 2-8, and it has not gotten much better. There were some highlights, especially from some young players, including.
If y'all ever want to know why I don't like
it has not
Bowen,
gotten much better. There were some highlights, especially from. It has not gotten much better. There were some highlights, especially from.
Don't ask me why I don't like Dane Bowen no
There were
more.
some highlights, especially from some young players, including Abdul Carter, Cam Scatterboon, most notably quarterback Jackson Dart. Dart has found success on the ground this season, rushing for 9 touchdowns, the second most by a rookie quarterback.
I promise you, don't nobody have low lights the way the New York Football Giants has low lights. I can guarantee that.
Since the start of 1950. However, Dart has had issues with concussions. This season, he ranks last among 25 quarterbacks with at least 10 starts in passing yards and with passing touchdowns. So with that in mind, the Giants are going to have a high pick in this year's draft. It won't be the number 1 pick, most likely. That'll be the Raiders. But do you think, Mike T., that the Giants should use that high pick they get to draft a quarterback?
Well, they absolutely should go through the process. And if it came down to Jackson Dart or Fernando Mendoza, which is unlikely, I would definitely go with Mendoza. Look, I actually like Jackson Dart. I think he's going to be a good player. But when you look at the body of work now, amongst all quarterbacks, he's
Mike Tannenbaum. This is not the first time that I've reacted to one of his terrible last takes, man. But it's one of those things where I know that I just can't fall for the gusto. You know, their job is to say and converse about anything that is entertaining, right? So I understand that, but I can't sit here and act like it still doesn't irk me. This dude is absolutely terrible, man.
26 in completion percentage. We talked about the concussions. We know about that. And I look at a guy like Fernando Mendoza. I see Matt Ryan. I see somebody that has lifted his teammates to historic, as you well know as an IU grad, historic achievements. And you look at that Ohio State game, and he checked every box, in my opinion, when he gets rocked on the first play. And in the biggest moments, he makes the best throws. And much the way the LA Rams gave Jared Goff $110 million guaranteed, and 15 months later, Sean McVay said, you know what, there's a better opportunity. Let's trade for Matt Stafford. I think that's what great organizations do. They're opportunistic. And if they go through the process and they agree with me that over the next 5 to 10 years, Mendoza has a higher upside than Dart, you could trade Jackson Dart probably for a first-round pick, but you just can't sit there and indiscriminately say, well, we have our quarterback. Because and we haven't even gotten to Dante Moore, but just Mendoza alone may have more upside than Dart.
All right, so Mike T, I don't like the comparison to Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff because Matthew Stafford was a well-established quarterback when they made that trade.
But it's the point of when an opportunity comes along, you need to pivot.
Well, the opportunity was when.
By his logic, it just doesn't. It's going to contradict itself at some point, at some time. So, I don't care who you are. When an opportunity is in front of your face, you don't jump at every opportunity. Because every opportunity that sounds good doesn't always end up good. And you have to know that. So it's not just about the opportunity. Like, he speaks like the NFL is like Madden. I can't take this shit serious, man. And then he's also not talking about the component of if we have to start all over at the quarterback position and Mendoza's game doesn't translate to the league, at the very least, as to what Jackson Dart has already have done.
They also moved up in the draft last year and drafted Jackson Dart. And what Jackson Dart has showed us this season is that he can play in this league.
Yes.
I also like the simple fact, even though you're going to have to get a coach in there and tell him, hey, man, you can't be, bullheaded and taking these hits like this. But I love a quarterback that can extend plays and play 11-on-11 football. Mm-hmm. That's not Fernando Mendoza. Jackson Dart has shown us. So now we're talking about a player that you drafted in the first round, that you moved back in the first round to get, and you're banking on somebody who, yes, even though he's won a Heisman Trophy and he's phenomenal in college at Indiana, he has not played an NFL snap. So I don't know if I can bank on somebody flipping a coin versus someone I know right now has had success with our football team.
Come on, Douglas.
That would be.
I thought this was the obvious.
Josh Rosen, right? Josh Rosen
and Kyler Murray were back-to-back.
Josh Rosen and Kyler Murray were back-to-back. We knew Josh Rosen stunk, right? We were certain that he wasn't a starting level quarterback. And Kyler Murray was coming off of this historic college season, this historic college run, and you knew you were going to get somebody at the head coaching position that had experience with him. If you move away from Jackson Dart, you're moving away from what was hope. You're moving away from what was momentum, and you're moving away from a guy that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt will die about this. And I think there's something to that. I think there's something to a player getting on the field and you feeling like we have a chance to be significant because he's here. There are different things that you have to change about Jackson Dart. And don't get me wrong, if Andrew Luck was in this draft, I'd feel totally different about it. If Trevor Lawrence was in this draft, I'd feel totally different about it. I'd say that mid-20 pick that we traded up to get, I'd let that go to get one of these transcendent talents. But Fernando...
Damn, RC was cooking. He was cooking. Until he lost me with that Trevor Lawrence shit. I don't know where the fuck... I don't know why he went so fucking far left. I'm not trading Dart for Trevor Lawrence.
Mendoza, don't get me wrong, I think he's a great player, but he's not a for sure, right? A guy like Dante Moore, not a for sure. Ty Simpson, not a for sure. I don't believe you pass up on the upside Jackson Dart showed you for something that you aren't certain about, the way you spoke about Matthew Stafford.
Now, we know that they're going to be looking for a new head coach. Front office seems like it's intact, I guess, with Joe Shane making the call. Do you get first-round picks in back-to-back years on quarterbacks? Is that realistic that they'd be able to pull that off?
Yeah, again, Corey, it may not happen every day. As RC mentioned, it was 18 and 19 last time it happened, but it really stands for the proposition, like, we got to do what's best. It's not about protecting my draft choice. It's what's best for our franchise. I like Jackson Dart. I want to be clear. I think he is a solid B. But if you have the opportunity to get an A, the risk in this discussion, and the part, RC, that I would push back on is what happens if Mendoza turns out to be an A, and now you got to compete against that year in and year out, where all you had to do is turn in the card and then trade Dart to somebody else, presumably for a first-round pick.
Right, but you're going like with
what
this
happens
presumably.
See, this is what I mean, man, when I say that the quarterback position can a lot of the times when being discussed can be so overrated. So overrated. Like, all right, let's go with his scenario here. If Jackson Dart was a B and Mendoza ends up being an A, that still, to me, isn't worth the risk. It isn't worth the risk for me. Like, you can do some good things, some really good things, with a B quarterback. So it's just like, I just don't understand what's this fascination with the quarterback position. Dart has shown you enough that he can lead this team to do some great things. Now let's build around that. That's where the focus should be.
Does it? Like, you don't know what happened if Mendoza's just like okay. Like how good does Mendoza have to be to make you regret not doing that, or how bad does Jackson Dart have to be? Is it if Jackson Dart gets hurt which is something you can't predict. Now you got to be like, oh, he got hurt and we didn't get Mendoza. I think
that's the thing. Do you know how good Mendoza is going to have to be in order for that to be worth it, that reset to be worth it? Like, Mendoza is going to have to be one of those guys. One of those guys. He has to be that much better than Jackson Dart for this to make sense.
The difficult part about this is you have to do your evaluation. And
Right.
maybe it's an evaluation like, oh, hey, we have Kirk Cousins, but we really like Michael Penix Jr., so we're going to draft him. Maybe
Right.
it's an evaluation of we just traded for Matt Flynn, or we just signed Matt Flynn, but we really like Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. But to go back-to-back first rounders, if you get that guy, he has to end up being an A, whereas you're saying if you pass up on him and he becomes an A, you regret it.
All right, we'll leave this one here because when we come back, someone's got to take. We've got a huge game.
Well, that's that on that. There we have it. There we have it. Mainstream media, ladies and gentlemen. These are the conversations being surrounded by the New York Football Giants. Forget the fact that this defense is soft as shit, doesn't want to tackle anybody. Forget the fact that these wannabe coaches that we have had have been absolutely terrible. Forget the fact that we lack wide receiver talent, especially in comparison to the teams that is in our division. Forget all of these other things. Forget all of these other holes on this team. Let's keep just talking about quarterbacks each and every year. Even though our quarterback has been the one of the brightest spots about our team this year, let's just talk about getting a new quarterback. I hate the conversation, man. And honestly, there's not going to be too many times where I keep even responding to this type of shit. But I wanted to react to this and show this because these are the things that are honestly being discussed right now. This is the reality. These are the conversations about our beloved New York Football Giants. This wouldn't even be a thing if we handled our biz. But if you hate losing like I lose, and if you hate these type of conversations like I hate these conversations, this is just a reminder. This is just a reminder. Gotta turn this shit around. We got no choice. Because I hate being a part of this right here. Y'all let me know in the comments, man, what y'all think about this conversation. Absolutely bananas. The type of shit that we got to listen to, especially for mainstream media. This is why I get my listens from off of content creators here on YouTube. I'm just being real. New York Giants, salute to each and every one of you. I will holla at y'all, and until I holla at y'all, of course, fee fi, fo fum, peace.
If I don't do nothing, I'ma ball and provide. Wifey said the only side piece she support is the piece on my side. Yeah. Everything gon' be fine. Rooting for her while she battling her bag for my time. They say Virginia's for lovers, yeah, they lovers of crime. It's hate here like lovers of crime.